learning more about is the differences between being sort of an employee on land versus, being out there in the oceans, because the hierarchy is so different, right? Because once you're in the vessel, like, there are very strict sort of social orders and rules, right? So how would you describe sort of the social hierarchy on a vessel, and what is the pros of that process versus the cons? Because we all seen some of documentaries where you see sort of what can go wrong once you don't feel like you have sort of the right position to sort of say against, the captain's orders, right? Because there is a very strong hierarchy on board ships.
Right. So it's changed dramatically. When I, was first on that oil tanker, it was $6 a minute phone calls and no internet, no anything. You had a TV lounge with 100 VHS tapes, and then you had a library, and the crew all ate together, and then they went and they socialized together. You'd watch a movie, or you spend a lot of time together. And when you're off time, you go up to the bridge and just hang out and talk. Then I went on the drill ships. So there's $1 billion ships that had fairly high speed internet and you could connect with home. And now it's like, wow, this is completely different, because I used to go out for months at a time, and at $6 a minute, your family would only call if something, someone had died or got sick or something bad. So you were always kind of fearful of that phone call, but then you had the whole crew to go around you. But suddenly you're on the drill ship, you got, texting, you got internet, you got everything else. And then when people are done work, they're going into their cabin, they're playing video games, they're on their devices. And also, we had meetings with the shore twice a day. So you'd have these Skype meetings, and it's not just, suddenly you're answering for shore and they don't understand the difficulties that you have on board ship. They're always asking you to do things. So it's changed dramatically, but, better connection to your family. But also I was always more in the compartmentalized. When I'm out at sea, it made me too sad to think of my family and being away. So I didn't connect very well. And when I'm home, I'm very present. I didn't connect. Some guys continuously connect with the ship and bring some manuals to work on or something home. I didn't. I really segmented those lives. But then once you have this internet and technology, you're pulled into all the problems. Your son, failed this test grade, or your nephew got in a car accident. He's okay, but he's in the hospital, these things. So it's led to, a lot of stress on mariners now, where it used to be guys went out to sea to get away from all of this, right? And that's part of the reason I was able to jump up so high, because I knew these computers, where most people went to sea because they wanted to get away from the technology. But now it's inescapable.
Definitely. Talking a bit about leadership and yourself being a captain, what do you think separates a good captain or separates a great captain from a good captain on board?
Well, it's interesting. I thought about this a lot, because I was lucky. My first 6 captains were excellent. I mean, the absolute best captains. And then the next captain I had, he got his license in a way that wasn't legal, and he was attacked by pirates. And part of the reason he was attacked by pirates was because he treated his crew so bad. The crew kind of let the pirates off Nigeria. But then the company, kind of to reward him for this pirate, put him in charge, even though he didn't have an unlimited license. He was used to smaller ships. They arranged for him to get a flag of convenience, unlimited, and be captain. So we went from a very small ship to the captain of this big, expensive, billion-dollar operation. And then he was just absolutely horrible. And then captains afterwards, some were really good, some were bad. But what I realized looking back is those initial captains, some of them had issues, but you're so new, you don't realize their faults and deficiencies. So as a young guy, it's all about a captain who can make you feel part of the team, make you, cares about you, lead you. And then when you move up in rank to chief mate and you have responsibilities, the best captains are the real ones who support you, but are also very technically competent. That you can go to them with problems and hopefully they will know more than you do, but that's not the case. So you're kind of almost ignorance is bliss as a young cadet coming out, and you just want someone who's going to keep you safe and, you know, keep an eye out for you and help you with your job. But as ships get more difficult, or, you know, there are more technical issues, you really want someone who's got that leadership abilities, can connect with the crew, motivate the crew, and has that technical expertise. And I found the guys who are nice and if you listen real well, if you listen to your crew, if you're engaged in what they're doing, especially on the larger ships like drill ships, I really struggled until I got interested. On the tankers, I struggled until I was interested in engineering. You know, there was always this friction with the engine room. And then one day I said, man, these engines are huge. Let me go to, and it was like the scene of Fight Club, like, go away, we don't want you. But as you show interest, you get excited and you learn about it. They teach you new things and your expertise goes up. And then you get the engine room and suddenly you can do things you can't. And I had to relearn that on drill ships. Hey, teach me about this at drilling. We're too busy to teach you. Well, I'm going to sit here and learn anyway during my off time. So being able to listen, empathize, stand up for your guys, and really that technical knowledge is important.
That's a great summary. I found a quote that you also have mentioned before, but I just want to read it out loud because I felt it was super good. That the sea is selective, slow at recognition of effort and aptitude, but fast in sinking of the unfit. Is that sort of the perfect quote from Felix Riesenberg, talking about sort of the oceans and how, basically just summarizing how you need to, or how the oceans treat you if you're not suited for it, basically.
Right. And that quote is engraved in the marble of Fort Schuyler, or New York Maritime College, where I went to school, and you have to memorize it when you get there. But Captain Felix Reisenberg was really interesting. He was like, I don't know who the popular authors are now, but Robert Peterson or Clive Clusser, he was that 100 years ago, but he was also a captain, but extremely popular. But the average public loves sea stories. You had Felix Konrad, you had became more famous, but there was a real desire for this literature, and it's mostly been forgotten. We had to memorize that quote, but we were never told to read any of his books in college. It's actually Sal Mercogliano who's to read one of his books. I'm like, this is a really great book. But that quote is important because said that a good leader also has to have that knowledge. And I think we're focused a lot on, you have all these books, happiness and leadership, that are really on the soft side, but they're not really focused on the deep technical knowledge. Another thing is, a lot of people specialize now. So the closest calls in my career have all been from mechanic drill ship who had never been on a tanker, never been on a container ship, never been, you don't go in an anchor very much. So when they did, they were in trouble, So kind of, learning a diversity of skills is important. And that's what Felix Reisenberg is saying. If you don't have that technical competence, if you don't at least have the learning in these different areas, you're going to see a situation that's, you're going to get in trouble. And the ocean doesn't care, right? It doesn't care if you live or die. It's completely apathetic. What's the opposite of love? People think it's hate. It's not. It's apathy. If a woman hates you, you can almost turn that into love. If you pursue her and you're nice and you're kind, but if she wants nothing to do with you, you're on your own, right? And that's, I think, the lesson of Felix Reisenberg is the ocean is beautiful and majestic, and we think it's there to help us, but it's really completely apathetic. It's going to challenge you at the worst times, and if you don't have that knowledge, it will it will kill you.